Hi all, it's Barb from Tree Craft Studio. I have a vlog today. I'm just going to chat a little bit about the GOC homework and how I'm doing on my goals. Be right back. This week the GOC was about paper. Tiffany did the class on Tuesday. This is week 2. You could still jump in and join. If you do join late, I suggest doing week 1 first. That tells you about the system. And I would do paper next. After that, you can kind of jump in wherever we're at. But I think those two are, it's definitely super important to do that week 1 first. And paper just, I think it's an easier item to sort, and you see the benefits quicker, and it really gets you a feel for sorting into those themes and colors. So, but I thought I would go over what the homework is. The homework this week is to choose a storage tool for your paper. Tiffany recommends going vertical if at all possible. People always say, well, doesn't it bend? Well, you might, if your things aren't full, you might get a little bit of like tilt or whatever. But as soon as you lay that paper back, I mean, it might do this, but as soon as you lay that paper on your flat surface, it's flat again. It's not a permanent, it's not like a bend, it's a curve, if that makes any sense. She does share it. Her handout every week kind of goes over what the challenge is, and you get a little snapshot of what you're supposed to do. And then her last sheet is about her products, which you don't have to use her products, but a lot of people end up asking, well, what do you have that, you know, works for this? So she just started including this. She didn't used to, and she started including it, which I find it very helpful. So this is kind of her items for paper, and then the back kind of goes into things for scraps. She says to create templates or dividers for sorting. Now I had those when I was doing the challenge at first, and I ended up using them in my paper. That's what I did. But I've since realized that, grab this, that I need another set. So I have a couple of the, I use the paper handlers for my regular paper, but I just bought the cheap set of the paper junkie boxes, she calls them. I labeled it on all sides. This is my rainbow paper to file. So as I'm working on a project, if I finish with a paper, I also have one for themes and seasons. I decided the color one needed to have its own box, because sometimes as I'm pulling paper, this one it was getting really full, so I went to more than one box. But I like to use Tiffany's 12 by 12 pocket dividers for that, because then I can put the scraps, the small thing, the scraps, or if I have small embellishments to put away, I can just tuck them in there. And by doing this, all of my stuff that I need to put away, either that I bought or that I've used and just needs to go back into my organization, is in the same order that it is in my organization. So it's really easy to put away. And if I don't get it put away, it's a lot neater being in these boxes than spread all over my desktop. So it's kind of a double win for me. So that's I kind of suggested to people. I said you might want to hang on to make a permanent set of dividers for your regular, organized only space, but keep them sorting ones for down the road, because I find that very helpful. Not that you have to do it, and maybe it won't work for you, but I find it very helpful. Sort your scraps. Determine the smallest size you'll keep. Now I use a couple methods for scraps. Let me grab them. Is this one good? I'm looking for what they have scraps in it. I think this one does. Yeah. For my more generic scraps, I use a Totally Tiffany Scrap Master, and this one kind of has odd size, larger scraps. And then I have a spot here that I put 6x6. 4x6 are smaller. 6x12 goes here. 8x8 goes here. Now you can divide that up however you want. That's just how I did it. And then I got my letter size back here. My letter size, I'm going to try and label better what brand it is and stuff when I buy it from now on, and keep it in file pockets. Do I have one of those close by? Yeah, I bought these on Amazon, and I've been trying to, like this says, it's from the Bright Collection by Paper Studio, so that if I run out of that color and I want more of it, I know where I got it and what paper pack it was in. So that's kind of just how I started doing it. And the other method I have for scraps is my Basil cardstock, which I use for my 3D projects. I put in these sleeves that I got on Amazon, and I just put the scraps in the front. So if I need some of this color, I can look and see, do I have a scrap that's big enough for that before I cut a brand new sheet of paper. It's been working fairly well for me. I don't so much set a size. I make cards, so sometimes I use smaller items as I do a space. Basically, if this starts getting too full, it's time to weed out. That's kind of how I do it. Same with if I'm getting too much in these. A lot of times if I run out and I can't find that color again, I'll just mix them in over here. But that's kind of how I do my scraps. One thing I did when I first started was I have We Are Memory Keepers punch boards, and certain ones need a set size of paper, like the alphabet punch boards, both the mini and the regular one, and the emoji punch board. Seems like there's one more that needed a specific size. I'm not positive, but for a while I was cutting my scraps down to those sizes. I will sometimes cut them down for photo mats, card bases, if I have enough, and that might be something that I try to do. That's what I was going to try to do next week. I was going to write that down, because if I don't write it down right now, I will forget. I was going to try to go through my scraps next week, because this week my goal is to just kind of review all my paper. The next thing is, once you've got all that stuff sorted, and Tiffany recommends that you take a small amount that you know you can get through in your setting, sort it all, put it away, and then start over, so that you don't end up leaving kind of a mess across your desk as you're sorting, because sometimes what happens then is you just end up piling it all together and you got to redo all that work. So she recommends working in small batches and putting it away. Once you've sorted it all, put it into your organized only area. Like I said, that can start small and grow with you. Do a progress report if you're participating in the official challenge. Either post it to the Get Organized with Totally Tiffany Facebook page, or email it in to their customer service email. And then when you finish all those steps, celebrate with reward number 2. Important here. This homework does not say sort all of your paper. It says sort 8 inches and sort scraps. If you have a lot of scraps, I wouldn't even say all of your scraps. Just sort some of your scraps. Once you can check off each of those boxes, you've done your homework. I mean, you're free to do more than 8 inches, but I see so many people participate in the challenges and they drop all off after a week or two because they thought paper week, they just needed to do all their paper. Oh, I can do all of it. Well, they end up burning themselves out and they don't finish, and then they get discouraged and they don't do anything for a while to fix their craft room. So follow the homework. Do all that first, and then, hey, if you finish all that early in the week and you say, oh, I want to sort some more paper, well, do it in the small batches and don't push yourself to do more than what you can. And if your brain starts getting fatigued, you start looking at a paper and are like, I don't know what color that is, I don't know what theme that is, it's time to take a break. And one piece of advice I always give for this when you're sorting anything is, when you can't decide on a theme, don't stress over it. Just make a decision, either theme or color, put it there. If down the road you discover, you know, that would be better somewhere else, you can move it. So that's kind of the advice I give for paper week. Now my goal this week is to go through all of my paper and kind of straighten it up because it's gotten a little bit messy. I'm kind of trying to see if there's anything I can get rid of. I have pulled a few things out, but not much. This was from a school that my daughter used to teach at, and I bought it in case I needed it for a project for her classroom, and I never used it. So I'm going to give it to her because maybe she has some stuff to scrapbook from her during her time teaching there, and she could use that paper. So I'm going to give that to her. But so I'm looking for opportunities to purge. But I've done this so many times that there really aren't a whole lot of things that I won't use eventually. I've gotten through my rainbow paper and my themed paper. My themed paper, I tried in especially the bigger categories, like I have a category I call it education, childhood, teens. It covers a lot. But since I don't have young kids anymore, I didn't need them separated down any further than that. But I did kind of want to separate the paper down within there. I keep those because my daughter's a teacher, and sometimes I do projects for her when she wants, for her room, for decorating it or whatever. So I like having a variety on hand so that I can do what, and she usually doesn't necessarily care exactly what the paper is. She just wants something in a certain theme or whatever. So I'm trying to subdivide some of my bigger categories down. Like my animals, I subdivided down by animal prints, insects, pets. I think I did farm and wild animals. I think that's how I ended up dividing mine down based upon what I had. And I subdivided my pets down a little bit more because I did cats separate, and then any other pets, because we're cat people, so I had a lot of cats. I still want to do my seasons. I have a cart that has Valentine's, spring, summer, and fall on it, and I have another one that has Christmas on it. I want to go through those papers yet this week and get that done. I did move my vinyl over at the beginning of the section of paper, which I shared that, I think, during my video last week on my wall of cubes. I didn't do a video on a section of the craft room this week. March has been a odd month for me, so I just didn't get that done. But that's kind of where I'm standing for the challenge. Next week is, I think, photos, unless she's changed the order, but I think it's photos. I got through HSN Craft Day without ordering, but I am still being tempted by the Today's Special. They still have it at the Today's Special pricing, through the end of today. They even still have the auto ship available, so I'm debating whether to just go for it, because I'm sure that's one I would use a lot. Though I used the Versus one that she did last year. This one that she did last year, which is, this one was kind of for inside your cards. And you could use them for scrapbooking too. And she has tabs for each month. I didn't get the auto ship on this one, and wish I had. But this one, it came with a stationery set. In this bundle, they basically gave you, for the initial shipment, the stationery set. But the additional auto ships were a stamp set and more stationery, and those were more expensive because of having that stationery. They didn't throw that in every time like they did on this one. So I just couldn't do that. I couldn't spend that much a month. I really would have loved the stamp sets, and if it had just been the stamp sets, I probably would have went for it. This time it's more geared towards like the outside of the cards, and they're sending you like the card bases and envelopes. So I think I would actually use those things, whereas I haven't touched the stationery stuff from this set. So I probably made the right decision, but I would have loved the stamps to go with it. And my eye is just driving me crazy. I'm sorry. They're really dry. I've put in drops a couple times already this morning, and it's only a little after 11. I think I need to do it again. Try to think. Oh, and the other thing I want to get, it's tempting me so much. The Stamps of Life has a bundle that has 2 Karen bags and a Kirsten bag, the Totally Tiffany bags, in purple. They are so adorable. I wish they'd been turquoise. If it had been turquoise, I would have already pulled the trigger and bought that, but I'm debating whether to do that, and I know I shouldn't. But I'm thinking if I do the HSN one, I could put that on FlexPay, so it wouldn't be all at once. So I still might end up doing both. But let's see. It's this bag. This is the Kirsten bag, and I have the Karen bag close by. Yeah, the Karen bag I have is in pink, and then this is the Karen bag. They're very similar, but I should do it this way. Kirsten's a lot bigger than Karen, as you can see, but see how this one's done in pink. This is the TSLO pink. This color pink is only available through the Stamps of Life website, and Kirsten is available in the pink as well. And I have some of them up there, but that one, the other one has Tiffany's purple. So I am completely tempted. Now I have this bag. This one is not for sale anywhere. One day they were talking about the different colors during a live, and I happened to mention that I wanted a Barbara in turquoise. And I do a lot in the GOC group, and Tiffany said, I can fix you up on this. She sent me the prototype because they had some done. Now the prototype didn't have the inner trays, so I stole the inner trays from one of the Barbara bags that I had here at home and put them in there. But it is so pretty in the turquoise, and I would love to have more of them in the turquoise. Hubby wants a Barbara bag in turquoise, and I'm like, you can't have mine. So, but that's kind of all I really wanted to talk about today was the GOC and HSN Craft Day. I know hubby wouldn't care if I did it, though. I will tell him if I do. Tell him before I do it. If I decide to go ahead and order, I know he'll say that's fine. So, but it's even harder because of having those purple bags out. And if I order those, I'm going to want to order enough to get free shipping, because I put just that bundle in my cart just to see how much it would cost to ship, and it was $16. I'm like, I'd rather just spend, if you spend $100, you get free shipping with her. I'm like, I'd rather just spend $100, get more product, and avoid that shipping fee, because that's a lot to spend on one item. And honestly, I think it's excessive. And if I'd put 2 bundles in there, that price would double. And it's like, but your shipping wouldn't double. So that one kind of bugs me when companies do that. They charge per item because most companies, HSN's probably an exception, are going to put all that in one box. The first pound's the most expensive, so their shipping isn't going to double. I'd say in the case of those buddy bags, their shipping's probably not even going to change because those bags don't weigh that much. So, and if it does, it's not going to be by much. But that's kind of what I'm struggling with today is, do I want to order the Crafter's Companion? I forget what they call this one. I think they call it like a banners or something, and it's because they have a die that cuts out like banner and circles and whatever. It's kind of cool because it's kind of one pass. You get a whole sheet of stamps that's all together. You stamp that whole sheet, and there's little X's on it in certain places, so you align your die so those X's show through in the spots it needs to. Probably put like a little removable tape. Crafter's Companion even sells some just for that purpose. It's repositionable tape or something like that, and then run it through your machine, and it cuts out all of those sentiments in one pass. So it's kind of cool. I would say because of the size of it, you're going to want, you could probably use Gemini or Cuttlebug plates, but honestly, if you haven't invested in something like a Misty, which I think it would be big enough. Let's see, it measures 6 by 8.5. So I think this size Misty would fit. Mine needs to be cleaned up. There's some stamps still on it. Most of the mess is here, not here. It's on the under sheet that I keep there to catch my off stamping. But either something like this or the Tim Holtz stamp tool, which I have that one too. And I think if this one won't work, I think the Tim Holtz one definitely will, because yeah, this Tim Holtz one's bigger. It's got a bigger surface. His, I can read the and that's 8.5 too. His is like 8.5 by 8.5. So yeah, I think this one will work too, but I think if not, this one definitely will. But if you haven't bought a tool like this, Crafter's Companion has one as well. So does We Are Memory Keepers. They're awesome because what they allow you to do is ink your stamp, stamp it, and how many times have you stamped it and then discovered that there's spots that didn't stamp well, or you just didn't ink it well, whatever the case may be. Sometimes it's hard to tell how much ink is on there. Well, with this tool, because you have the magnets holding your project in place here, you just ink that stamp up again, close it, press again, and it's going to stamp in the exact same spot instead of you trying to line your block up exactly where you had it before. So the Misty's a little pricey. Some of the other ones that have come out since then that are a little bit different but work on the same type of principles are cheaper, like the Tim Holtz one, which the Tim Holtz one has been retired. You might be able to find it used, but it's been retired because basically copyright infringement. They copied too closely how this one was designed, so they agreed to pull it from the market. So they don't sell it anymore. But I picked one up right about that time because I thought a second one's not a bad idea anyways. If I ever would have anybody craft with me, which I don't know will ever happen, but if I did, if I ever had grandkids that they wanted them to craft with me, they could use one and I could use the other one. But they're worth the price you pay for them, because they are, if you're a stamper, or maybe you want to be a stamper and you've bought all these stamps and you don't use them because of the frustration of not getting a good enough imprint, that'll help you. But I'm going to wrap up here because I have went really long. But I want to thank you for joining me, and I'll catch you next time.